Hello, it's Carl, and this video is all about Rendlesham Forest. Rendlesham Forest is it's known across the entire planet, for one thing. I'll come on to that in just a second. In terms of where it is, it's over towards the Suffolk coast. Really very handy if you're staying on either of our barges, because it's literally halfway between the two. It's only kind of 10 or 15 minutes from Naming at Snake Maltings, or from two-acre Brewers in Woodbridge, but it's very, very doable from our barns as well, probably about 35 minutes away from the barns, and it's a great place to go, particularly if you are dog owners. There are boards up everywhere marking out the trails, and there are clear arrows with the different trails marked on them as well, so it's an incredibly well laid out forest. Plenty of parking as well. There are a couple of different car parks, but it's well worth visiting whether you're a dog owner or not, because it's a kind of a very enchanting forest. However, there is one thing that it is known for across the world, whether you've heard of it or not, and that is the world of unidentified flying objects. Yeah, you did hear me correctly. Rendlesham Forest is known for a very famous UFO sighting in 1980. Now, I would say that the forest it's a forest in its own right. It's beautiful, it's great for dog walking, it's great for just walking, but what I'm going to do is focus just for a few minutes on the UFO side of things. I'm not going to pretend to be a historian or a UFO buff or anything like that. I'm going to read directly from the pamphlet that you can pick up in the woods. I don't usually do this sort of thing, but it's probably best to tell you the story as they tell it. Are you sitting comfortably? Then I shall begin. Just after 2 a.m. on the morning of 27th of December 1980, two USAF security police patrolmen saw unusual lights through the trees outside the east gate to RAF Woodbridge Airfield. Could they belong to an aircraft from an unfriendly power? The patrolmen obtained permission from their on-duty flight chief to leave the airfield and investigate. They were joined by two further USAF personnel, but one was ordered to remain on patrol at the east gate, so three went into the forest on foot. The first sightings from the airbase had been of lights in the sky, a strange glow. As the men entered the forest, radio contact with the airbase began to break down, so one of the search party remained on the edge of the forest to keep contact. Two men therefore continued deep into the forest until they approached the eastern edge. It was here they reported seeing a shape in a clearing. At the clearing towards the edge of the forest, the patrol were to report that they had spotted a conical object about the size of a car floating on beams of light just around 12 inches above the ground. There was a mist surrounding it, and the craft appeared to be metallic with black markings on one side. They tried to approach the object. It was like walking in slow motion. Suddenly the craft rose rapidly in a flash of light and disappeared. Had the patrolmen been spotted? The search party returned to base to report their observations. They wondered if the craft would return. The next day, Air Force personnel searched the area. Some of the trees surrounding the area had broken tops, and they found three small triangular depressions on the ground, about 1.5 inches deep and 7 inches wide. Radiation levels were taken, and they were 10 times the normal background level. What did all this mean? In the distance, behind the trees, the Orford Lighthouse would have been visible. Was it the beam of light from here that the patrolman saw, or could it have been something else? The next night, the USAF personnel were better prepared in case the craft returned. They were ready to deploy with Geiger counters, arc lighting, and recording equipment. The first reported sighting that night over the open field to the east of the forest was a pillar of yellowish mist, which then seemed to transform itself to a huge eye with a dark centre. Then a craft was spotted and reported to have manoeuvred through the forest. It had pulsating lights, red on the top with blue lights underneath. The patrolman pursued it and reported that it transformed into a pyramid shape, approximately 30 feet across and 20 feet high. After a chase of about an hour, the craft shot skywards. Elliptical pieces detached themselves from it, which lingered in the sky for approximately an hour, and the craft then disappeared. The initial search party reported hearing women screaming. Who were these women, and where were they? They also reported that animals in a nearby paddock became frenzied. Something had disturbed them. One of the patrolmen involved in the search on the second night was to report that he was unable to move when he first came upon the craft. He said, "I could not move. It was dreamlike. I felt slower on that night. Everything was half speed and something was wrong." So there you go. That's the UFO story. Now, I will point out that I read that directly from the pamphlet In the Forest, produced by Forestry England. If you're from Forestry England and you're wanting to sue me for nicking your material, I'm just trying to promote your UFO forest. Anyway, back to normality now. So that is just very interesting, whatever way you look at it. But there you go. That is a Rendlesham Forest. I would suggest it's a great place to go and have a little walk. Do check out the UFO trail, and you can pick up your very own copy of that pamphlet. And there are further publications with all sorts of stories on this. So as I say, it is famous across the world. Any hoodles, that is our video on Rendlesham Forest. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you've appreciated the fact that I've maintained credibility by not putting gimmicky little aliens on here or anything like that.
Because I think that would just cheapen the whole thing, and quite frankly, I'm way above that kind of thing, so I want to be taken seriously, and so I'm just simply not going to do that. I'm not going to lower myself to that kind of level.
Anyway, hope you've enjoyed it. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel and also subscribe to our newsletters on the website. That way I can let you know about any last minute availability we might have or any cancellations, and also about competitions that we do from time to time and other things as well. Do also follow us on social media, and I hope to see you on the next video.